Until 2005, the value of the renminbi was pegged to the US dollar. As China pursued its transition from central planning to a market economy and increased its participation in foreign trade, the renminbi was devalued to increase the competitiveness of Chinese industry. It has previously been claimed that the renminbi's official exchange rate was undervalued by as much as 37.5% against its purchasing power parity. However, more recently, appreciation actions by the Chinese government, as well as quantitative easing measures taken by the American Federal Reserve and other major central banks, have caused the renminbi to be within as little as 8% of its equilibrium value by the second half of 2012. Since 2006, the renminbi exchange rate has been allowed to float in a narrow margin around a fixed base rate, determined with reference to a basket of world currencies. The Chinese government has announced that it will gradually increase the flexibility of the exchange rate. As a result of the rapid internationalization of the renminbi, it became the world's 8th most traded currency in 2013, 5th by 2015, but 6th in 2019. On 1st October 2016, the renminbi became the first emerging market currency to be included in the IMF's special drawing rights basket, the basket of currencies used by the IMF as a reserve currency. Its initial weighting in the basket was 10.9%. 2159. This section needs additional citations for verification. Please help improve this article by adding citations to reliable sources in this section. Unsourced material may be challenged and removed. June 2021. Learn how and when to remove this message. The ISO code for the renminbi is CNY. The PRC's country code, CN, plus Y from Yuan. Hong Kong markets that trade renminbi at free-floating rates use the unofficial code CNH. This is to distinguish the rates from those fixed by Chinese central banks on the mainland. The abbreviation RMB is not an ISO code but is sometimes used like one by banks and financial institutions. The currency symbol for the yuan unit is Y saikings, but when distinction from the Japanese yen is required, RMB, e.g. RMB 10,000, or YS RMB, e.g. Y 10,000 RMB, is used. However, in written Chinese contexts, the Chinese character for yuan, Chinese, yuan, lit, constituent, part, or in formal contexts, Chinese, yuan, lit, round, usually follows the number in lieu of a currency symbol. Renminbi is the name of the currency, while yuan is the name of the primary unit of the renminbi. This is analogous to the distinction between sterling and pound when discussing the official currency of the United Kingdom. Jiao and fen are also units of renminbi. In everyday Mandarin, kuai, Chinese, kuai, pinyin, kuai, lit, piece, is usually used when discussing money, and renminbi or yuan are rarely heard. Similarly, Mandarin speakers typically use mao, Chinese, mao, pinyin, mao, instead of jiao. For example, Y874 might be read as ba kuai chi mao si, pinyin, ba kuai ku mao si, in everyday conversation, but read ba yuan chi jiao si fen, pinyin, ba yuan kuiu jiao si fen, formally. Renminbi is sometimes referred to as the redback, a play on greenback, a slang term for the US dollar. The various currencies called yuan or dollar, issued in mainland China as well as Taiwan, Hong Kong, Macau, and Singapore, were all derived from the Spanish dollar, which China imported in large quantities from Spanish America from the 16th to 20th centuries. The first locally minted silver dollar or yuan accepted all over Qing Dynasty China, 1644-1912, was the silver dragon dollar introduced in 1889. Various banknotes denominated in dollars or yuan were also introduced, which were convertible to silver dollars until 1935, when the silver standard was discontinued and the Chinese yuan was made fabi, legal tender fiat currency. The renminbi was introduced by the People's Bank of China in December 1948, about a year before the establishment of the People's Republic of China. It was issued only in paper form at first, and replaced the various currencies circulating in the areas controlled by the communists. One of the first tasks of the new government was to end the hyperinflation that had plagued China in the final years of the Kuomintang (KMT) era. That achieved, a revaluation occurred in 1955 at the rate of 1 new yuan, 10,000 old yuan. As the Chinese Communist Party took control of ever larger territories in the latter part of the Chinese Civil War, its People's Bank of China began to issue a unified currency in 1948 for use in communist-controlled territories. Also denominated in yuan, this currency was identified by different names, including People's Bank of China banknotes, simplified Chinese, Zhongguo Renmin Yinhang Chaopiao, traditional Chinese, Zhongguo Renmin Yinhang Chaopiao, from November 1948, new currency, simplified Chinese, Xinbi, traditional Chinese, Xinbi, from December 1948, People's Bank of China notes, simplified Chinese, Zhongguo Renmin Yingxingquan, traditional Chinese, Zhongguo Renmin Yingxingquan, from January 1949, People's Notes, Renminquan, as an abbreviation of the last name, and finally, People's Currency, or renminbi, from June 1949. From 1949 until the late 1970s,